Hello and welcome again to another episode of the Long Gone Loser Rock Show. I'm back once again, this time to talk about Australian music because I'm an advocate for it. I love Australian music. I think Australian music is some of the best music in the world and is largely overlooked around the globe. Well, maybe even here more so in Australia than it is around the world, because it seems like whenever I've travelled overseas, or especially Europe, not so much in America, but when I get to Europe, I notice that people really know their Australian music, and I'm always talked to about the Saints and Radio Birdman and the Hard-Ons and what have you. And I think it's really cool to know that in Europe, a lot of Australian underground music has actually ended up doing quite well in Europe, especially in areas like Spain and Germany. So I want to talk to you today about 5 bands that I've culled from my collection that I think have got great records out that I hope you guys will check out. So the first band I want to talk to you about is Sea Witch. This band is from Perth. It has Fiona Horn, who was also in Def Effects, and it also has Spiff, who was from the band The Hellman. Dave Hopkins, the man himself, the guitar player from The Hellman, is the guitarist of Sea Witch. Sea Witch is kind of like I guess you would say like a stoner rock, doom kind of band, down-tuned riffs, etc., etc. It's really, really good stuff. The sort of stuff that I would expect to see on a label like Man's Ruin Records and stuff like that. It's a really solid piece of work. This is their EP. It is 4 tracks. The reason I'm talking to you about this EP now is that they've actually got a brand new album coming out on Cheer Squad Records this month, and I hope you jump over to Bandcamp and give it a whirl, because the songs that I've heard so far are really damn good, and I'm really excited for the album. But yes, grab this EP. It was self-released. I don't know how many copies they did. I think it was like, I heard maybe 200 or 250. And it's not a lot in the grand scheme of things, but it's also probably a lot when you're a new band. But this stuff's really, really good. So yeah, this is Sea Witch. Like I said, self-released, but they do have a brand new album coming out on Cheer Squad Records and tapes. So check it out. The next band I want to talk to you about is a band from Brisbane called Idle Ruin, and they play that old style of German thrash metal, that sort of stuff. I'm talking like Sodom and Creator and Destruction, stuff like that. Like, these guys have got that whole thing down pat. It's really good. It's really raw. This is their EP, and it's really, really good. Like, I didn't know what I would think of it because, as we all know, I'm not the biggest death metal fan, but I do like selected death metal, and I really do like, German thrash and stuff like that. So these guys were like in between the two. So it wasn't full death, and it was definitely very thrash. I really liked it. So this EP, you can listen to it on Bandcamp. The link will be here. If you like those bands like that I mentioned before, the German thrash stuff, maybe even early Venom, give these guys a whirl, because they're really, really good at what they do. And I look forward to their show in January, where they're playing at the Bendigo Hotel on Friday the 13th, I believe it is. So get on out and check them out if you're in Melbourne. But if you just like hearing that sort of music, get over to Bandcamp and grab yourself a copy. It's on really thick vinyl too. It's just really, really thick, like 180 gram vinyl or something like that. Here you go. You've got a nice inner sleeve there, and you've got the lyrics on the other side. My friend Liam plays drums in this band, and I'm really looking forward to catching up with him when he's in town. But yeah, awesome stuff. Get on out, grab yourself a copy of Idle Ruin. I've got to talk about this old classic. This is the band Boys, not to be confused with the UK band Boys or any other band that has decided to call themselves the Boys. This is the Perth group. From what I know, only one member from this band went on to do anything that I can actually recall. It's the drummer. He went on to be in the Baby Animals. But this band released this one record. Maybe they released more, I don't know, but this is the only record I know of. And this record is fantastic. The only thing that I could say about this album that is kind of a criticism is that maybe they could have shortened the songs a little bit, because most songs are around the 4-minute mark, and I think with these power pop songs, they're really good. There's a really good song in here called When You're Lonely, and there's a slow bit in the middle, and I just think if they just got rid of that and just kept it rocking, the song would be absolutely 110% perfect. It's a fantastic song as it is, but that one little thing could make this song even better. But it's a fantastic song. This whole record is really, really good. And I see it on a lot of people's want lists these days. Like, people really want this record. I found it for $6 at the Woodville Record Fair, and it was worth it. Really worth it. So there's your back cover. There you go. Pretty cool. And yeah, pretty simple, boring sleeve there. Released on a label called Parole Records. Never heard of them before. But yeah, look this up on YouTube. There's a video of them playing on like Top of the Pops or Countdown or whatever it is. And it's really cool to see them playing, you know. They're a really good band. Boys, check it out. 1981. This is what Australia sounded like. It was pretty awesome. Going over to my hometown now of Adelaide, and I have to talk about Where's the Pope. These guys were like a skateboard hardcore band, and I got into them because there was a compilation in Adelaide called Are We Still Here that was released by Dominator Records, and on that was a song called There Goes the Neighborhood, which came off this EP here, Straight Edge Holocaust. So there you go, there's the back cover. This EP released on Reactor Records. This EP, I think I got it from Thrash Grind and Grunge, and I think it was like $8. Sadly, the shop doesn't exist anymore. But yeah, it's got in a sleeve here, the lyrics and stuff on it. This EP is good, but I don't think it's the stronger of the two EPs. I do like it a lot. I think it's awesome. But I think, seriously, Sunday Afternoon Barbecues is fantastic. This record was released on Greasy Pop Records, and it comes on red vinyl. And wow, like, being into skateboard culture and stuff in Adelaide at the time, I remember I used to hear this album playing whenever I went to Fulham Garden Skateboard Park. There was always somebody there with a boombox that was like playing the likes of Black Flag, the Misfits or whatever. And these guys were always played. And rightly so, because, you know, they fit the scene perfectly. And just to prove it, you can see on the back, they've got their skateboard, the Vision Streetwear shirt. So, you know, they lived the way that they talked. And they do a cover of Gangrene's Alcohol on this. No surprise there. But yeah, really, really good record. And the song Sunday Afternoon Barbecues is just fantastic. And it's a drunken sing-along, if that's what you do on the Sunday afternoons when you've got a barbecue going. But fantastic records. I believe these are the only two vinyl albums that they released. They did do some CDs as well. In fact, why don't Where's the Pope have a Bandcamp? That really needs to happen. Where's the Pope? Get a Bandcamp. Put all these albums on Bandcamp so everybody can hear them. Otherwise, they're just going to have to buy the albums off Discogs and pay way over the price of what they're worth. But yeah, Where's the Pope? Awesome records. Check these guys out if you love your skate punk. The last band I want to talk to you about today is a band called Bud. These guys have got incredible releases. They're one of the best live bands I've ever seen. And oh my God, when this guy announced that they were releasing this, I was pretty damn excited because this is a really good EP. It has a really good song on it called Fuckhead. And Chop Some Fucking Wood is great as well. But this EP is awesome. They released a bunch of EPs and full-length album called Prana. This solidified just how awesome this band is. Now, to tell you how I discovered Bud, they came to Adelaide and they played at the Mad Love Bar with the Mark of Cain. And I went there and it was so packed in that room that they actually had to open up the doors and just let people in for free because it was just so packed and everybody was just sweaty. It was a boiling hot night in Adelaide and it was just awesome. My friends wanted to go because they wanted to see the Mark of Cain, and I wanted to go because my friends in Screenfeeder told me I had to see Bud. So I went to the show and I was blown away. This is when they had Dennis from the Meanies, Dee Dee Meanie, playing on guitar as well. And I just remember they had Narco on the bass, Jeremy on vocals and guitar, and Skittles on the drums. And it was just insane. Like the two guitar down-tuned attack of these guys is just magical. They've changed lineups a lot over the years. I've seen them play with members of Price Bay. I still remember that night at the Mad Love Bar. It just blew my mind. It was when they were touring the EP NAF, which should have got a vinyl release, but never did. Yeah, and they also did like a breakthrough song. It kind of got a fair bit of airplay. It was an EP that only came out in CD called Over It. And I remember at the time, people were complaining about it, saying, oh, it's not heavy enough. Are you kidding me? That thing is down-tuned and heavy. It's just that it's catchy at the same time. But holy shit, man, like it is a really good EP Over Is, and I hope one day someone puts it out on vinyl. In fact, I hope all the Bud stuff that I don't have on vinyl gets released on vinyl because it would be great. But this is the EP NAF. This was released by Tim Records in Brisbane. It's on orange vinyl. There's only 200 copies of this released. There's your back cover. And as you can see, it's signed and numbered on the back cover there. So this is Yak Fat, my friends, by Bud. Awesome. But the vinyl doesn't stop there. I also have their single-sided Help Me Swell EP, which was given to me by Tim from Screenfeeder as a present. I don't know if you can see this or not, but that's an etched record. And it looks pretty damn awesome. This was released on Fellaheen Records, which I believe was the label that Waterfront Records turned into. I could be wrong, but that's what I have heard on the grapevine, that it ended up changing hands or something and ended up becoming Fellaheen Records. This is their only 7-inch that they've done. This is the double 10-inch record that was released on Ecstatic Peace, which is Thurston Moore's label. And this is really old, really old stuff. And I believe this has the demo songs on it. I've got the demo tape around here somewhere. Actually, it's funny because Tim from Screenfeeder gave me the demo tape and these 2 records and said, you're going to love these, because he knew that I was so into this band once I saw them. I guess I was into them more than he was, and he said, you can have these. So I'm very thankful to Tim for giving me these. I really appreciate it. And the demo tape. So I really appreciate that too. But anyway, thank you once again for tuning into another episode of the Long Gone Loser Rock Show. These are Australian bands. Go out and support Australian music, because Australian music is some of the best in the world. I hope you'll do that, or at least check them out. To the ones that do have a Bandcamp, I know Bud do have a Bandcamp, and it's got their last EP, which is like really super duper hard to find. It was a CD only release, and I think that they only did like 100 copies of it or something like that. But it's awesome. It's called Jawa, and has like a speedway bike on the front. It's really cool. But get that EP as well, because it's awesome. Buy it all. Buy everything Bud did, because it was great. Thanks so much for watching once again. I hope you'll tune in again to the next video. In the meantime, go out and support Australian music. Go buy some records. Buy all of these records. Why the hell not? And yeah, look after yourselves and take care of each other. And I'll see you soon. Cheers, guys.